And these hypocrites want to start talking about this is in the best interest of women and children. Republicans in the United States Senate blocked a bill that would protect access to IVF treatment. Well, where you been? Where you been when it comes to taking care of the women and children of America?
Kamala Harris recently did an event in Georgia where she brought the House down talking about reproductive rights and the extremist Republicans whose agenda puts women directly in harm, like Amber Thurman, for instance, a 28-year-old mother who died due to her state not allowing abortion procedures that she needed to save her life as the pregnancy was unviable. So I wanted to watch a few of these clips of Harris and just jump in with the needed context.
1 in 3 women in America lives in a state with a Trump abortion ban. This includes Georgia and every state in the South except Virginia. Think about that when you also combine that with what we know has been longstanding neglect around an issue like maternal mortality. Think about that when you compound that with what has been longstanding neglect of women in communities with a lack of the adequate resources they need for health care, prenatal, during their pregnancy, postpartum. Think about that. And these hypocrites want to start talking about this is in the best interest of women and children. Well, where you been? Where you been when it comes to taking care of the women and children of America?
Trying to frame banning abortion access as you're trying to do what's in the best interest of women when what you're actually doing is trying to control them is incredibly disingenuous, especially when we know from a Tulane study that states with stricter abortion laws have had a 7% increase in total maternal mortality compared to states where abortion is protected. Licensed physician requirements in states have seen 51% higher maternal mortality, and Medicaid funding restrictions in states are associated with 29% higher. So how are we doing what's in the best interest of women when we're making it more likely that they die during a pregnancy? We have stories of, again, like women like Amber Thurman dying a otherwise preventable death, others being forced to flee their states just to save their life, and children, you're doing what's in the best interest of children. Republicans could care less about children. Never let them take this high ground that they're protecting children and are pro-life when they let assault weapons into our schools. They voted against the child tax credit that cut child poverty in half. They voted against it multiple times. They voted against mental health services in schools. Again, this just comes down to them wanting to control women, and that's it.
And on that last point, you probably saw this week for the second time, Republicans in the United States Senate blocked a bill that would protect access to IVF treatment. Now consider, among the multitude of ironies, the fact that on the one hand, these extremists want to tell women they don't have the freedom to end an unwanted pregnancy. And on the other hand, these extremists are telling women and their partners they don't have the freedom to start a family. Okay. And they want to restrict access to contraception as well.
And the proof is in the pudding with what she's saying here as well. Republicans have also voted against protecting both IVF, these fertilization treatments, and the right to conception. Simple standalone bills that would have just codified these protections into law where they could not be banned or blocked even by Supreme Court rulings that would allow it. But yet they pay lip service to the idea that they support these things, but in reality, they're leaving the door open for the chance to block them. Why would you do that if you don't support it? Some states like Alabama, Missouri have already tried going after these things. They try to attack the funding of these things. So make no mistake, the Republican Party is pro-controlling women and anti-family.
From 2 years ago when the Dobbs decision came down, we knew this could happen. There is a word preventable and there is another word predictable. And the reality is, for every story we hear of the suffering under Trump abortion bans, there are so many other stories we're not hearing.
And I want to take this time to address the lie that, well, they're leaving it to the states where it should be. Most Republican states fight like hell to leave abortion referendums off the ballot, especially after it's been a clean sweep on any ballot that it has ended up on. Florida was dragged kicking and screaming to do it, with DeSantis is still saying, well, it shouldn't be on the ballot. And multiple states like Texas are just outright refusing to put it on the ballot. So how are we leaving it up to the states to decide when states are refusing to let the people in the states decide? And what it's led to is unneeded suffering, extreme laws, near total bans, child victims being forced to carry to term, unviable pregnancies being unable to receive care, because Republicans know in these states where they have massive Republican majorities, they're not going to lose control, so they can do what they want. So we've seen the effects of overturning Roe. I think it's time to return to normalcy, and Harris is the candidate that represents doing exactly that.